Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. I am Jennifer, aka Jen Jen from Jen Jen's Creations, and today we're going to do a drill with me and talk about true crime. This is the second video of my series. I really like doing these. Started doing this last week, and I really like doing these. So we're going to diamond paint, and I'm going to talk to you about the case that I am going to be talking about today. His name, it is about a doctor. He was a neurosurgeon, and his name is Christopher Dunch. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I don't know, and I apologize if I'm not. I don't know how else to pronounce his name. So, like I said, he was a neurosurgeon. He was he worked in Dallas. Now, when I was looking this up, there were a lot more deaths and maimings that he caused than what he was convicted for. He was accused of malpractice on 33 patients, and these patients were either maimed or ended up dying as a result of the surgeries that he performed. And this case is kind of weird because number one, I kind of, no offense, I mean, Danielle, thank you for referring this to me, and but this case just kind of left me baffled because there wasn't a whole lot of information, and if there is, I was probably looking in the wrong place, but the videos and so forth that I could find about him were mainly of his victims that did survive, and I they weren't very long interviews. Some of them were just like clips of that were maybe a minute or so long, and it was kind of sad because I listened to one of them, and it broke my heart because you could this man was being operated for a condition, something to do with, no, it was a woman, one of the victims. She was a woman. I can't remember who it was because there were a lot of them. There were a couple of them that I don't know how to pronounce their names, but and she trusted this doctor to do what needed to be done to fix the problem. And well, of course, as we know now, this was a recent case also. I did not know this case was um even though apparently he's been doing this for a while, but he was convicted in 2017, I do believe. um but we're just going to get into it, and you guys can, he was born in Montana, and he spent most of his youth and so forth, spent most of his life in Memphis, Tennessee. He ended up going to uh, Colorado to become or to go to college there, and wanted to play college football, which that did not happen. And he then decided to go back to Tennessee and go to college there, and he became interested in medicine and became a neurosurgeon. Now, I don't know if, this was he they did say that he was addicted to cocaine, that he was on one of his surgeries, he was under the influence of cocaine. Now, I don't know if he had been doing cocaine the whole time before, when he was in college or what. It did not say. Um, I tried to see if I could find anything about him, anything, other than what they have listed, and there really wasn't a whole lot there. Like I said, I probably looked in the wrong place. But what I did find was that he became MD and got his PhD. So, and if I'm not mistaken, that means he was also a um, psychiatrist. And he, psychology, whatever. Um, Again, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know. I don't know what a PhD means. I think that's what it means. Um, he, I've lost my place. Um, he completed a spine fellowship program. Now, this is what starts basically foreshadows everything. Um, he specialized in, I guess spinal surgery as being a neurosurgeon. That's what he wanted to specialize in. And during his 4th year of residency, he they he was suspected of being under the influence of cocaine. And so he was then sent to uh, an impaired physicians program. And after he completed that, he was then allowed to return to finish his residency. And he participated in fewer than 100 surgeries and a small fraction, which is a small fraction of the average of over 1,000 surgeries for a neurosurgeon. Now his career, now I said this is, you know, recent. He started his career, uh, he began his career of operating in Texas in 2010. And he started, he moved to Dallas and started practicing at Baylor Plano, I guess, is a hospital. And he left. Of course, as soon as he started leaving a bad impression. Um, on his fellow surgeons. Now, there was a vascular surgeon that he, I guess, was worked with, and the vascular surgeon, Dr. Kirby, said that he boasted about his ego, or boasted about, his abilities, even though he was new to the area, and his ego was just off the charts. Some of his operations ended with patients being severely maimed at the hospital at Baylor, and uh, he severed a major artery in, this is one of the victims, Kelly Martin's spine, which caused her to bleed to death, and which she and of course then they forced his resignation. And bear with me because I'm trying to do these symbols, and there's a lot of confetti in this. um, he then moved to Dallas Medical Center, and he was employed there for less than a week. Now, guys, really, less than a week. And, you know, he causes another death of a patient. I mean, seriously, my thing is, okay, he's already been basically, you know, and I'm getting drills everywhere because I'm going to have to switch trays. I think, he's already caused the death of one patient in another hospital. But my thing is, he goes and starts work at a different hospital. So my question is, now I don't know because, again, I don't know how hospitals work and I don't know much about, all that. But my thing is, wouldn't they have done some kind of, um, I guess, what I want to say, background or something on this doctor or something to know that this doctor could possibly be, trouble? See, that's what I don't understand. As soon as he is, forced to resign from the first hospital and then goes to work at another hospital, I'm confused because, and I don't want to say I'm confused, but I'm kind of stumped because my thing is, wouldn't you put that down on your resume? And wouldn't they call? I'm because any job application that I've ever filled out, they've always done, they've always called, excuse me, and checked references. So that's what I'm trying to uh, understand. And I just did the wrong color. Well, piddle me. Okay. That's what I don't understand is that, if you're gonna go, you're basically, forced out of your first your job. Wouldn't you? I don't know. I'm confused, guys. Um, so anyway, he's there for less than a week before he's dismissed for causing the death of another patient. Um, which is her name was Floella Brown, and then maiming another patient, Mary Efford. He's now for Floella Brown, he severed her vertebral artery, which ultimately caused her to die from a stroke. Now, I don't know anything about anatomy. I don't know anything about, any parts of the body. I have no clue, but I'm assuming, and I did not think to look this up. I don't know where this artery is. I have no clue. You guys can tell me. I'm assuming that if it caused her to have a stroke, it has to do with, something that goes to her brain. I don't know. Okay. Again, I have no clue. Then he severed Mary Efford's nerve roots during a spinal fusion surgery. Now, this was just like, this is something, this next part is something that I would have expected from a horror movie. Okay. He left surgical hardware in her back muscles. That's okay. That to me is something that would come out of a horror movie. I just, now they had to call in Dr. Kirby, who was the one that, oh no, excuse me. They called in another spine surgeon, Dr. Henderson, to basically salvage this, basically salvage what Dr. Dunch did. And why aren't my drills picking up? Come on, seriously? Did I just lose all my? I did. I lost all my wax. Oh my gosh. Um, all my wax just kind of. Bear with me, guys. I pushed down too hard on the drill and my wax came right off, or came right out of the pin. Um, Again, let me see, where was I? Now he said that Dr. Henderson said that the work that Dr. Dunch did was like a child that played with Tinker Toys or an erector set. Now those are things I haven't heard in a long time. Um, he and she was left paralyzed as a start, or paralyzed as a result of this. Now, I did see her interview. I watched a piece of her interview. It was only like a month long, or not a month long. Oh my gosh, if it was a month long, I'd still be sitting here. It was only like a minute or so long, and it really wasn't the whole interview. And I tried to find the whole interview. Like I said, there really wasn't a whole lot of information on all of this. And I tried to find the interview, but I couldn't find it. But I watched the clip that I did find, which again was like a minute or so long. And, you know, she was very, very, you know, angry, upset, which I can't say I blame her. And, you know, she had a full life, and this doctor just took it away from her. I mean, I'm not saying that she doesn't have a life now, but this doctor just kind of just, you know, took something away from her that she'll never get back. The will to the you know, to be able to walk again. And that's just kind of, you know, now apparently the state licensing agency for Texas did an investigation, but of course, you know, there's nothing available for that, because it kind of sounds like they just kind of, you know, put it to the side, or they sealed it and nobody is allowed to look at it. But again, this is something that's like right out of a horror movie, to be truthful, because it just, it creeped me out. That's all I can say. um Now in December of 2011, according to court proceedings, now Dunch emailed a colleague. Now these were his exact words: "I'm ready to leave the love and kindness and goodness and patience that I mix with everything else that I am, and become a cold-blooded killer." I just don't. My thing is, okay, if you, and that now, maybe you guys agree with this, but the way it sounds after, you know, he tried to be in football, couldn't get into that. And it sounds to me like he only became a doctor because technically I mean, now, you know, this is just my opinion, that he only became a doctor because he really didn't have any other options available to him. Or if he did, he just kind of, you know, didn't want to take on the other options. Now, I don't know. I mean, I really truly don't. This is just my opinion. I mean, I'm thinking that's the only reason. So that's what it sounds to me. I don't know. That's what I'm taking away from this quote, because it sounds to me like he only became a doctor because he couldn't do anything else. It seems like everything else that he possibly could have done just, you know, either didn't take or he wasn't good at it. And obviously, he wasn't good at being a neurosurgeon because, I mean, look at what he did to all of his patients. I mean, that to me just makes no, I really don't know. Now now we're going to get into his medical license revocation and his criminal conviction. Now, after he left the Dallas Medical Center, he received a job in an outpatient clinic. And in the meantime, the Methodist Hospital in Dallas, where he had applied for the job, had reported him to the National Practitioner Database. Now, this is another thing that totally gets me. Because remember, he was forced to resign from Baylor. Then, a week later, or however many days later, he's hired by another hospital and let go because of maiming and killing patients. Then, during all of this, even after this report was brought out, he gets hired at University General Hospital in Dallas in 2013. Then he turns around soon after this, after he started working here. And this is where I'm trying to understand. And I guess there's no way to understand, but he's already been reported. They already know. I mean, at least I would think that, hospitals and administrators of hospitals should already know what he's done and why he's been, fired or let go from all these different hospitals. That, oh yeah, he's he has issues and he's very, very unsafe to patients. I would think, okay, if you know this, why hire him anyway? And my only thing is, like I said, maybe he didn't tell them. I don't know. But he's hired and then he maims another patient. And this is what I find funny, not funny as in sad. Well, I just think this is kind of weird. And how a doctor can do this, I just don't understand. How he mistakes a part of the neck muscle for a tumor. Okay, how do you do that? I don't understand. I'm confused. Which ended up after he quote thought it was a tumor, he ended up severing one of Jeff Glidewell's vocal cords and cutting a hole in his esophagus and slicing an artery, and he left a surgical sponge embedded in his throat. Okay, really? I'm again, why did this doctor get hired? It just makes no sense to me. So as a result of that, Dr. Kirby, who he worked with before, ended up coming to repair the damage. And he had described later on that what he found after he opened Glidewell back up was the work of a crazed maniac. Okay, seriously, this man should not have been practicing medicine, performing surgeries, or anything, because obviously, and again, this is where I think I have an issue with the fact that, he was let go from one hospital, he goes to another hospital, then he turns around and starts working at an outpatient clinic, and in the meantime, they report him to the national, practitioner database. Even after that, and after the report has been let out, another hospital still hires him. I just don't understand. I probably won't. But in the meantime, um, and Dr. Kirby had told uh, Glidwell that it was clear that Dr. Dunch had tried to kill him. He left, Glidwell was left with only one vocal cord and was partially paralyzed on his left side. Okay, my thing is, why didn't his medical license get revoked right then and there? After all of this, why did his medical license never get revoked? Yeah. They finally suspended, his license was finally suspended in 2013 in June. This was after he was hired at the hospital that Glidwell was in, and it was revoked. They lobbied, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Dr. Henderson and Dr. Kirby lobbied the Texas Medical Board to suspend Dunch's license in June of 2013, and then it was revoked in December of 2013. After that, Dunch decided to leave Texas and go live in Denver, Colorado. And he ended up, his life went down from there, and he ended up getting arrested for a DUI, and ended up in a psychiatric evaluation in Dallas. Or no, I'm sorry, was taken for a psychiatric evaluation in Dallas. Now, he also was able to visit his children. Now, I didn't know he was married. Of course, I didn't look into that. But he was visiting one of his children, and he was arrested for shoplifting, which had nothing to do with, what he's been accused of, but he was arrested for shoplifting. Okay, really? Okay, I guess the way I'm seeing this is, he's already like, not allowed to be a doctor anymore. And he's being accused of all this stuff, maiming people and killing people and so forth. Oh, I might as well just shoplift and get drunk. It just, I don't understand. Again, and I'm going to say that a lot during this video, because I really don't. This is just one of these things. I was reading this last night. I'm just sitting there. My mouth dropped to the floor several times when I was reading this. Like, why are you going to hire somebody when you know what he's capable of? It just, I don't know. Now, in 2014, Mary Efford, Kenneth Fennell, and Lee Passmore filed separate lawsuits against Baylor. They alleged that the hospital allowed Dr. Dunch to perform surgeries despite knowing that he was dangerous. Now, the Attorney General of Texas filed a motion to intervene in the suits to defend Baylor, citing citing a statute that placed a medical malpractice cap of $250,000, along with the statute's removal of the term gross negligence. Then from the defamation of gross okay, the suit alleged that Baylor made an average net profit of $65,000 on every spinal surgery performed by Donch. Henderson and Kirby had feared that he would move elsewhere and still theatrically get a medical license and be able to perform surgery. They basically urged the Dallas district attorney to pursue criminal charges. Now, that didn't get anywhere. The charges were pursued, but it really didn't go anywhere until 2015. So a whole 2 years after all of this gets started, and after his license gets revoked and everything, it takes them 2 years to basically file the charges. And the statute of limitations was going to run out, so they really had to hurry up and get what they needed, what kind of evidence or whatever they needed from whomever. And the problem was that they couldn't prove that his actions were intentional and willful. So they interviewed all of his patients and all the survivors, and they did finally conclude that he was indeed, that his actions were indeed criminal, and that nothing short of imprisonment would prevent him from practicing medicine. And all I gotta say is I'm kind of glad he doesn't practice anymore, because that would be just a little too much for me. I'm just not. Okay, why does we're having issues, people. I don't think I put enough wax in here. My stuff keeps coming out of my pen. I keep pushing down too hard, people. I gotta stop pushing down so hard. That's my problem. So they did obtain, if you guys can remember in the beginning, I said that he had emailed a colleague stating that, his desire to be a cold-blooded killer and to basically just give up, all the feelings and so forth that, a normal doctor would have towards a patient. And that, he wanted to become a cold-blooded killer. They found that email. So basically that kind of just, nipped that in the bud. A year later, after his license was revoked in July, he was arrested, and he was charged with 6 felony counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Now, which, meant his hands and other medical, stuff. And of course, you guys don't need to see me do this with the Bear with me. I got drills everywhere. I dropped them all. I didn't mean to. I'm having a time today with these drills. Um, they're all over the place, which is never a good thing. Okay. There we go. Alrighty now. Where did I go? Where did I leave off? Uh, bu- 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 Now, one of the things, now I don't know, I did not find this in any of my, looking it up or whatever. One of the charges was 5 counts of aggravated assault causing serious bodily injury and 1 count of injury to a child, elderly, or disabled person. Now, like I said, I don't know if I did not see this in anything I looked up. I could not find that. But sorry, I'm trying to find um the all right. Next symbol. Um so I'm not sure if there was a child involved, and even if there was, it really, I wasn't sure, but the indictments were handed 4 months before the statute of limitations ran out. Which I think, in my opinion, that is cutting it kind of close. But again, I'm not, a lawyer or a paralegal or anything like that. So I don't know, if that's like pushing it to the limit at the last second or what. I've never really, looked that up. Um, um, Now, again, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know, if that's the 4 months is kind of cutting it close. Like I said, I don't know. Um, see, the last charge that was for the maiming and okay, the last charge where I said that it was 1 count of an injury to a child or an elderly person or a disabled person, that last charge was for Mary um, Efford. I don't know how to pronounce her last name either, and I'm probably butchering it, and I do apologize. Um, they put that as a high priority on that charge. So basically, I guess when they went to sentencing, or went to trial, they, focused on making that the, main reason as to why, he was being charged. That, I mean, no, don't get me wrong, all the other charges mattered, but they made that charge a high priority because I think the way that they thought of this, now I don't know, again, this is just my opinion, that the way they thought of this was that he, could get jail time for this, for that, I'm assuming. So that's probably why they focused on him, on that, the most. Um, um, let's see. So basically, with that charge, that would cause him, even though the other charges were added, I guess, that would cause him to face life in prison. And now when they went to court, this is where this is, kind of, I can, his lawyers decided to call many of his other patients to the stand. Now, he didn't want them to call it all his other patients. Don't ask me why, unless, he, felt that, they might not, tell him the truth, or they might, you know, make him look bad. I don't know. Or I, I really don't know. I just know that he didn't want them to be called, which kind of makes, no sense to me. I mean, this man is on trial for doing this. My thing is, you've already done this to 33 people that we know of, and 4 that you're at trial for. Why don't you think it? I don't know. Again, this thing is confusing. Sorry. This was one of the confusing things and baffled me, and it just kind of made me feel like I was in a nightmare. And it was this case is just weird altogether. Believe me. Um. Um. Let's see. Now, this is what I don't understand. His lawyers. Oh, okay. They wanted to, the prosecutors were the ones that wanted to call all of his other patients. Now, the reason that they did that was they wanted to prove, and I'm sorry, I read that wrong. Wanted to prove that his lawyer, or prove that what he did was intentional. And um, so once they realized that, once his lawyers realized that they weren't going to get, you know, out of that, they realized, okay, we're going to have to go with this because, we're kind of, stuck now. And I'm sorry, but um, the way I see it, it was intentional. I mean, that's just me. I don't know. Um, really? I got a piece of fuzz in here, guys. I'm sorry. I'm all like not with it today. Oh well, what the heck. Um, Now his lawyers only realized. Now this is what I did. This is what makes me kind of, sit here and like really shake my head, because according to his lawyers, Dunst only realized how bad of a job he had done as a surgeon when the prosecution experts told the jury about his blunders on the operating table. I call bull crap on that, because my opinion is he had to have known what that he was, basically screwing up. That's my thing. How are you going to sit there and say that, he only realizes that he screwed up or fucked up after all these experts get on a stand and testify? I call bull, because he had to have known. There's just no way he couldn't have known that what he was doing was wrong. That's my thing. I don't understand how you can sit there. And I think that, he tried to play it off that he didn't realize what he was doing was wrong, or that he really did this bad of a job to try to make himself look like, okay, I know I screwed up, to not get a life sentence. I mean, come on. Seriously? Um, his lawyers blamed his actions on poor training and control by the hospitals. So every hospital that he worked at, they're putting the blame on them instead of him, which I'm sorry. No, just no. Um, so, um, now this trial went on for 13 days. That's, that's a lot. That's a lot. And after 4 days of deliberating, the jury came back and found him, um, basically found him guilty, and he was sentenced to life in prison in February of 2017. So 3 years ago, he was put in jail. Now all four of these hospitals have civil cases against them. And let's see, 2018 in December, the Texas Court of Appeals affirmed that his conviction by a 2-1 split, or they affirmed it. Then May 2019, the Texas Court of Appeals refused his petition for a discretionary review. Now, I don't know what a discretionary review is. I don't, I have no idea what that means. But not unless it was a way to get his license back. I don't know. I don't know what that truly means, to be truthful. I did not look that up. But right now he is serving time in Texas, and he will not get out until 2045 when he is 74 years old. And he will not be allowed to practice medicine again. And like I said, this case was just so weird. I was, looking, this, it was weird. It just, I don't know. I don't know how to describe this, because when I was reading this, all I could think of is, this is a doctor. This is a man that, swore an oath to do no harm, as all doctors, swear. And this is basically what he did. And in so many ways, I don't know if it was intentional that he got away with it, or again, that is something that I don't know for sure, because it's just so, this whole thing disgusted me. And to be truthful, I was really tempted to just not do this case, because it just disgusted me to think, there are people out here like this that I just don't understand how, these people can do things like this. And I don't know. So that is it for this podcast, guys. And gosh, I went 48 minutes. Holy crap, I didn't even realize I would go that long. And I really, really appreciate it. I'm enjoying this. So if you guys have any cases that you would like me to look up and talk about, please, you can comment below. And if you are new to the channel and you've liked it, please subscribe. And if you have any questions, please comment below, or, any comments, comment below. And I will answer any questions or suggestions. Just, let me know. And until then, I thank everyone for listening, and I will see you all next time, and have a great day.